Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Ajlam here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and if this is your first time of checking out my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you get to know anytime I put up a new video. So for today's tutorial guys, I'm going to show you how to make a ruffled hem ball gown for a baby girl. So if you're interested, let's move down to work. A 6-month-old measurement to do this, but you can actually use the same step to make for any age of your choice. Okay, so but for this I'll be using a 6-month-old measurement. So for this, the body's length is 6.5. okay, then I'll add 1 inch for my seam, making it 7.5. so I'll mark out. I will first and foremost draw a line as a guide. Okay, so from this line now I'll mark out 7.5, which is here, and I'll connect it to a straight line. Okay, so the shoulder is 7.5, but I'll be adding ½ inch to it because for this dress I'll be fixing a sleeve, a short sleeve. So I'll add ½ inch for that, for the seam allowance. So now that will make it 8 inches. So half of that is 4 inches. I'm marking this on the lining. Okay, so this is 4 inches here. So I'll come down by ½ inch. If you have been following my tutorials, you should be familiar with this by now. This is the ½ inch for the shoulder slope. Okay, so for the neck width I'll be using 2 inches. So I'll be making use of 2¼ which is here. Okay, and for the neck depth I will now use 2¼ as well, which is here. Then I'll connect it. Okay, after connecting it, I will join the shoulder slope to this point here, like this. Okay, so now the armhole is 3 inches. Okay, so I'll mark out the 3 inches from this point here. Here is the 3 inches. I will insert the shoulder measurement, which is 4, and it's here. So I'll connect. The main purpose for this tutorial is especially for the down parts, which has the ruffle. Okay, so this side I will rush it a bit. Okay, so now I will check what I have from this point to this point, which is 1½, and I'll come in by 1/4 inch. This is 1/4 inch here. Sorry, I'll come in by ½ inch, which is here. Then I'll mark out the chest. The chest is 20 inches. 20 divided by 4 is 5, which is here, plus 1 inch for seam. The same measurement goes for the waist. Okay, so this is it, 6 here, and I'll connect, and the upper part is as simple as that. Is ready. So this point here, I will just connect it. Okay, this is the upper part. So now I will just cut it out and cut out the back quickly. I'll repeat the same thing. I will mark out my line as a guide, and I will mark out the body's length. Remember, we used 7½. 1 inch is for the seam, while the actual body's length is 6.5. So this is 7.5 here, and I'll connect it to a straight line. So now I'll mark out 1 inch for the zip allowance. So here is 1 inch. I'll mark it all the way down. Here is 1 inch, and I'll connect. Okay, so remember the neck width I used 2.25. So I will insert the same 2.25, but this is where my measurement will stop, because this side now is the zip. So here is the 2.25 here, this point, and the shoulder, remember we use 8 inches, which is 4. Okay, so I'll come down by half. So I'll connect this point to this point, and I'll use, remember the front side I use 3 inches for the armhole. So this is the 3 inches here. I will insert the shoulder measurement, which is 4, and I'll connect. Okay, so now for this I'll just connect it like that, unlike the front, which I used half inch inward. But for this I'll just connect it straight like that, because I'll be fixing a short sleeve to the dress. Okay, so that is it. I'll put in the chest measurement, which is 5 plus 1 inch for seam. I'll put the same thing on the waist, and I'll connect. So now the little, okay, here now I'll use just half inch. Okay, because I want it to be very high at the back. Okay, then I'll just connect. Okay, so here I will come up by half. Here I'll come up by half inch. Okay, and I'll just connect it straight to this point. You already know that if you're with me in my other videos. You should be familiar with this. And the reason for this is, by the time you join both the front, one will not be longer than the other. Okay, so that is it. The front and the back is ready. So now I will cut it out and show you how to cut the down parts, which is the main purpose of this tutorial. Of net, as you can see, I folded it already. I just folded it into 4, and I'll keep it like this. This is how I'm going to keep it to cut. So now remember the length of this dress. The length of this dress is 16 inches, while the body's length is 6.5. So 16 inches minus 6.5 will have 9.5. I hope I'm right. Then I'll now add, so I'll add half inch for seam, so that will be 10. So the length of the down part will be 10 inches. So I'll be starting from this side that is short. This is the shorter side. So I'll measure out the 10 from this side that is short. Okay, so like here now I have 10 inches here and mark it. Okay, so after marking it, I'll now check what I have from this point to that point there that I just marked. So here what I have here is 7 3/4. So I'll just take it all round like that with my tape. Okay, for this it depends on how fluffy you want it. If you don't want it that much, you can use 6 inches to do it, and at the end of the day it will not be that fluffy. Okay, but this I really want it to be fluffy, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Okay, so now I have my 7 3/4 all marked out round, as you can see. Okay, so now I will insert the length all round as well. Okay, after cutting it out, okay, I will open it up on this other side that is closed. When you're doing this, be careful so that you don't end up cutting it open the two. So I'll just pick one of it like this and I will now cut it open. So now this is what I have. By the time I gather the waist, it will give me exactly what I really want. So now for the ruffles, I will just cut them out and I will just fix them on the hem. Okay, so let me show you how I will cut it. The ruffles, I have 1 yard here of net. So as you can see, I'm folding it over again into 4 places. Okay, like this. And I will be marking out 3 inches. That is what I'll be using. So I'll cut as many as possible that will reach what I really want to do. So here now I'll mark out 3 inches. Okay, so now this is 3 inches here. Like I said before, I'll cut it out as many as possible. Okay, so this is 3 inches and I'll cut it out. This is what I'll be using to make the ruffles. Okay, so after cutting it out, I will take it to my sewing machine and I'll open it up and I'll use my gather stitch and sew it on the center of this net. Okay, but before that, I have to cut out as many. That will be enough for me. This is not up to a yard. Okay, so I folded it over, as you can see, into 4, the same way I folded the net. So now I'll mark out for this satin. I'll be using 11 inches, right, so that at the end of the day I will end up having 9. Remember, the length is 10 inches. That is the length of the dress, but the satin needs to be inside after sewing. Okay, so now I will mark out 11 inches here. Okay, for this satin, it is a bridal satin, and you know, bridal satin, sometimes some of them can be very hard and strong, so I will not be making this fluffy like the way I did the net. So this is 11 inches here. From this point to this point, I will be making use of 6 inches. You can also make use of 5. Okay, Okay, here I have 5 3/4, which is still okay. So I'll mark that out all round. Okay, this is 5 3/4. After marking it out all round, I will now mark out the length, which is 11. That is the length for the satin. So this is 11. I'll just mark that out and I'll cut it out. You can see it's not as full as the net. Okay, so now to cut out the lining, this as well, as you can see, is just like half yard. Okay, so I will just fold it like this and I'll bring it down this way, making sure that it's straight. Okay, so after folding it like this, I'll be using 6 inches from this point. So I'll just mark out the 6 inches. This side, this lining will be like a flare. I will not be gathering it. So this is 6 inches here. Okay, and for the length, I'll be using 9 inches. Is very okay. By the time I take out the seam, I'll end up having 8 inches. So here is 9. Mark out the 9 and I'll cut it out. So this is the lining. I've cut it out. Here I ended up having 21 inches, which is very good. 1 inch now will be for my zip allowance, as you can see. So now I'll open it up like this and I'll mark out 2 inches from the waist, and I'll do that. I'll just mark it out round and I'll just mark it out 2 lines. 2 lines is very okay for me. Okay, so let me just do that quickly. This line is where I'll be fixing in the hard net. Okay, so guys, let me start with the down part, which is the ruffle. Let me start with that. So this is what I have after sewing it. So now I will take just one of these and I will drag it. Okay, so after doing that, I will now join it on the dress. So now I will open it up like this. Okay, because this is where I'll be sewing it, and I'll place it on this hem like so. This is ½ inch here, that is the distance. So now I will take this, and this depends on how full you want the dress. Okay, if you want it more full, you can just drag it more. Then I'll open it up and sew it. But before sewing it, let me just spin it so that it will be easy for me to sew. Looks like after fixing the first one. Okay, so I'll just use my hand and just close it up like this. Remember, I'll be fixing another line so that it will give me exactly what I want. So I'll do the same to the rest of the down part. Okay, so the same way I did all this side, I will just do the same, and I will show you after fixing all. So guys, this is what I have after joining the first layer. So now after fixing the second line. Okay, so now I'll gather the waist area. As you can see, I've used my gather stitch to do this. So now I will just gather it and join it with the satin. So guys, this is how it looks after joining it with the satin. So now I'll be joining it with the upper part. So this is the upper part. As you can see, I've done it already. To see more on how to go about this, you can check out my video on how to make a party dress for a year-old baby girl, and you will see step by step on how to do the upper part, on how to sew the upper part. So for the sleeve, as you can see, I left this place because I'll be adding a small sleeve to this dress. So now I'll take the upper part and I will join this down part together with this, and I will also join my hard net. Okay, so as you can see, I've done the hard net, I've sewn everything already. But to see more on this, if you want to see step by step on how I did this, you can as well check my video on how to make a party dress for a year-old baby girl, and you will see step by step on how to achieve this. So let me just join everything together and I will show you guys the final look of the dress. Final look of the dress, as you can see, is looking so lovely. So for the zip part, you can check out my video on how to fix an invisible zip to a ball gown, and you will get to see step by step on how to do that. So guys, that is it for today. I believe you were able to grab one or two things from today's tutorial. So please subscribe if you have not. Please like, share and comment, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.